We are running. What's happening? Got some analytics. Welcome into the Glow Show. We are in the last bit of massive marble run. Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to be doing speed run. And that involves rolling in the white frit and then a drill. There we go. All right, there we go. And oh, that's a lot faster. All right, there we are. Bring it out. Yep, that worked. Put that back. All right, there we go. That was super fast. All right, let's add the color and see how quick we can get this done. All right, there's that. All right, there's the green. Then we need the dark cobalt. So we're going to run across, same way, and add the spiral without any fail. We can't fail. No fail. And we're good. That worked. What's up? How you doing? Nordina, how you doing? Welcome in. All right, here we go. This is always the fun part, right here. It's where you get to change the pattern, and it looks really cool when you're done. What's up? Is that Ahi? Welcome in. If I messed up your name, I apologize. All right, so we got color running. We're going to spin it up. Turn it to a marble. And here we go. Perfect. Actually, really perfect. What's up, banana? Charlie, what's up? Absolute. How you doing? Welcome in. Blurry. $6 million man. I love that frickin' show. Good name. Good to see you. All right. I got to get this thing rolling. All right, there we go. Let me turn off the monitoring. There we go. All right. That's how we do it. Dominic, what's happening? How you doing? Why can't you hear the fire? Let's see if we can add a little bit. We got my NVIDIA filter on. But the torch is super quiet. It's not a loud torch. It's not like a welding torch. Yeah, it's about 3,800 degrees Fahrenheit. Baka, what's happening? All right, let's go. We got to get this thing rolling. Got a lot of work to do. So we're making these little marbles. I'm making these right here, the smaller version. And then later today, we're going to do some amazing stuff. No, this totally different. So you're talking about you get glassblower's cheeks. I don't know why people do that. You don't have to do that. I don't know if it's a thing that they just want the attention and develop that over time to make it look more professional, but no, you don't need that. It requires very little air. It's a total misconception. They make it look way harder than you actually think. It's like everybody's so afraid of spinning the glass and it's going to fall off. And it's very rare that it just falls off. You have to work really hard to make it fall off. But if you want a cool little experience about what this is like, just get a chopstick or something and spin some molasses on there. Try and keep the molasses on the end of the chopstick, and that is exactly what it feels like. Just like that. We're going to come across here, put a little hunty right there and burn this off. Actually, we are not doing anything crazy. This is exactly how I do the memorial marbles, where we take ash from people or pets and infuse it into the glass. That is one of the most rewarding styles. So then we just end up with this super hot molten globe of a marble. You can kind of see the colors starting to bounce through there. Molten metal through the floor. Yeah, this won't do that. Promise you. You'd have to work really freaking hard to make it do that. I'm not saying it's not possible. There are some people out there that can do some dumb stuff and get some things rolling in the wrong way. But you have to work really hard at it. I worked really hard on that setup. I kind of wanted to give it that Avatar look, that home planet on Avatar. The glowing stuff all over the place. That's what I wanted it to resemble. Hold on. There we go. Starting to get warm. I had to actually turn the freaking fan on. What fuel? Oxygen and propane are the two fuels. Did I kick on my third flame? Nope. Hold on, I gotta adjust my foot pedals. There we go. It looks white, but it's actually blue. The camera's having a hard time picking it up. Watch. I'm gonna put the filter in there. See how it goes blue? So that's what my glasses look like. The camera should have a filter to filter part of that out, but then everything would turn purple. See how it's blue? It's actually very blue. How does the color come through? Yeah, we're gonna dip it in here. And boom, drop it in. And it picks up some color. Like that. This is picking up little tiny bits of frit. It's called white glass. It's little frit, about the size of sea salt. Yeah, everything I see has the blue filter. But if I put the blue filter up there, all you'll see is blue and purple. That's it. All right, we got to mix this. We got a power tool. Just like that. How long does one usually take? Between 6 and 10 minutes. Depends on how fast, how everything's going. If it's really slow, or if I have a little bobble, then it can take up to 10 minutes. If everything goes perfect, then it's 6. Hey, I invented Blurple. I don't even go there. I'm a Blurple master. All right, let's spin this color on. All right, color number 1 is on. We're going to grab some darky cobalt. Flip it on there. Now, this is what keeps my eyes from like bugging out. A mace? I could definitely do a mace. I'll show you an example of how I know I could do a mace. All right, so we got the dual colors on. Good morning, what's happening? So we got dual stripes on there. There's some green and some blue. They're always a two color combo. No, I wouldn't say that. It's like the oldest joke. Come up with something new. All right, so we're going to stripe some colors through here. And we have to grip it right there. Pull down. Add it in. Pull down. Add it in. There we are. And one more. There. Oh, what happened? What the hell happened to music? All right, we're going to have to come back up. All right, so we're going to take this and spin it all up. Turn it to a marble. No, you do not have to have a degree. I don't even recommend a degree. It'd be a waste of time for this. The only thing you would want a degree in glasswork with is scientific glassblowing. So like making lab apparatuses, which is a really good profession. But I'm kind of worried that, you know, they're going to figure out how to 3D print this stuff eventually, if they haven't already. I'm sure they've already figured out partially how to 3D print this. Yep, Boro. And here we go. We're going to make it into a marble. How's everyone doing anyway? Y'all hanging in there? How's your Friday? Yeah, there is a way to purchase something. Click, there's a link in my bio to the website. Should be a contact email too. And if it's something that we can do, we will do it. Yeah, I'm trying to get the room to kind of have that avatar look. But kind of junglish glowing. All right, we're gonna punty it up here and change it over. Grab that. So now we just have to round this end off. And there we go. Grab it here. Learning National Torch and propane. I started on the National Torch, so you're in good hands there. Definitely started on a National 3A, to be honest. Back in the day, there were like multiple tips for it. So you're in good hands on that. Nothing wrong with a National. And the nice thing about it is if you break it, it's not expensive. Watching from the Philippines. What's happening? It's like on my list of places to go. Specialized complex, glass rods, powder at high temp. Yeah, I'm wondering if they could do borosilicate 3D printed. That's my big question. Can they do borosilicate 3D printed glass? This is 31 years. Little punty right there, and burn that off. Double pert. Why, are you lacking choices of finding one? I don't think so. Yep, that's why the National's so strong. Hopefully they fixed the valves though. They used to have the little plastic knobs. I thought they started making metal ones. It should be way better. metal valves would be a hell of a lot better, but they probably still have the plastic ones on there. New subscriber, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that. All right, it is all done. You can kind of see those patterns. I wish I could keep that molten look to it. Wouldn't that be a kick-ass color if it stayed that way? It's metal? Okay, good. Let me grip it and pop, off it comes. Bring it down, let it settle for a second. This is hard? No, just practice. Honestly, this is just practice. Anybody can do this. I could literally teach a monkey to do this. That's no joke. Just practice. All right, I got to make one more as a backup. So we're going to get that out of the way real quick, which is going to involve a power tool. Is my face hot? No. See, this torch is really specialized. You can grip it like that, and it's not hot. See that? Can't do that with any other torch. In fact, I got to crank this up a little. I thought about scientific, but that's a whole different game. If I had to choose to do this over again, I would go scientific. I would have definitely gone scientific. All right, got to roll it into the white ground up glass. Yeah, scientific is so badass. The thing is, the really, really, really cool scientific glass that they make, you can't ever see because it's all classified. All the really cool scientific stuff is all classified. So you don't get to see all the cool stuff. How much propane? I'll let you take a guess. In a full day, how many gallons of propane do I go through in a day? I'm going to let you guess take a guess for a minute, and then I'll tell you. I'll give you the answer. Take a guess. How many gallons of propane? Then I'll give you the answer. All right, we've got to mix this up. This is from art. There we go. There we go. 3, 2, 1.5, 10, 15, 3. The answer is 1.5. About 1.5 gallons a day on it. Now, if I kick this up, it goes up a little bit. But it's about 1.5 gallons. Now, the oxygen consumption, that's a lot. That's like 10 to 1, 10 to 1 ratio. So, well, that's if you got a barbecue tank size propane. I've got a lot bigger for that. I hate changing tanks over. All right, let's go. We're going to spiral this up. And there we go. That's one spiral. Oh, thank you for the subscription. What is scientific glasswork? Oh, So a lot of times there are certain processes that require glass because it's resistant to so many different chemicals. So like beakers or I don't even know how to describe it. Anyways, glass apparatus that is used in the scientific industry or a lot of the nuclear too. Laboratory research. And because of the properties of glass not being resistant to just about everything or impervious to it, they use it in different apparatuses. And you have to have someone build those apparatuses. Do I filter my propane? No. No, I'm not a real good welder. Oh, without the material, it's not as yeah. Without it, it's not easy. What's happening? Hi, Sandra. All right, so we got color bouncing through, right there, and we're gonna come through and pull it through. Yeah, you should. Actually, it's probably not a bad idea if you could filter the propane. I never run propane all the way down to the bottom of the tank because it has this little gummy material on the bottom and it will go through your lines. That stuff sucks. So the quickest identifier to the fact that your tank is running low is you will start to smell propane. If it smells like you got a leak going on, that means your tank is at the bottom because more of the chemicals coming out than the propane. The ratio changes. It'll still burn, but not quite as hot. All right. You live in West Virginia? Oh, yeah. There are lots of marble collectors. The marble industry is huge. All right. So we got all this going. It's called CAC or cake. I'm assuming you're talking about the propane? Yeah, there is something in that filtering that. All right, let's get this thing spun up. There we go. Then we're going to burn it off. Nice and clean. Seriously? We are making marbles. So far, I am on, what number is this? Finishing this up. This should be number 60. I need to make 40 more. Got to fill those orders. All right, bring it down, and that's what this is for, to help shape it. There. Yeah, there are lots of, not necessarily classes, but experiences where you can go out and do glass. They're all over the place. I highly recommend it. No bongs, no dongs. Not into it. I don't have a problem with either industry, to be honest. I don't care what someone prefers or not prefers or what you do with your life. It's perfectly okay with me. But the industries, both of those industries are flooded with glass. It's not like you lack choices of finding one. How did I get into this? My mother started me off. She started glass work at 1972 when I was 2. All right, we're going to burn this off. So yeah, I grew up with it. I did make the piece behind me correct. Now that one, the one overhead was done with the traditional style, the big open furnace called a hot shop. I don't like saying what it is, but it's technically called a glory hole, and I hate saying that because, yeah, I've heard every joke on the planet with that. But anyway, that was done with the traditional hot shop, like the big furnace and all that. That was not done on a torch like this. Come on, break. Oh, thank you for the high five. So that one, I'm going to modify it to have glow-in-the-dark glass so that when the lights are out, that thing will glow. I'm probably not going to get to that till after Christmas, but we'll see. I'm hoping I have a little bit of time. But yeah, if I can get a glow-in-the-dark in there, that'd be kick-ass. Can you imagine turning your lights off and your chandelier still glowing? That'd be fun, right? I'll bring it out. But this is how a lot of times some custom marbles are made. Not every marble is made this way, but it's definitely a way to do it. Glass masks. You know, some people are making masks, actually. I don't think I would trust having a mask of glass near my eyes. I don't think I would do that. That's why I don't make the Prince Rupert's drops. Because if they blow up and someone gets a glass shard in their eye, I'd feel terrible that I was responsible, kind of. This is different than glass blowing. This is technically called lamp working. And I'll show you why. Yeah, this is technically lamp working. So we can do solid work and we can do glass blowing, both. That's why I do like this. You might be able to see a little bit of the pattern and colors bouncing through there. Unfortunately, that green, it looks very brown right now, but when it's done, it's really pretty. Grab that, and this is how you remove it. Smooth it out. And I got to set it there and wait for it to cool a little bit. Because if you put it in the kiln right away, it'll eventually roll on that little hot spot, and then you got a problem. No, I actually bought these. I don't make tools that often. Anyway, let me show you why it's called lamp working. This is the original style torch that they used back in the day. And this used to be a kerosene lamp where just a little flame came up, and they modified it. And it used to have kerosene. You'd have to pump up pressure and then adjust your valve, and the flame would come out this way. But that's why they call it lamp working, this little device there. Just a little trivia. All right, let me get some stuff moved out of the way because we have to go to a whole different arena of stuff. Give me 1 second here. I got to clear out some stuff. And one more here. There. All right, where did I put the red? Let's park it over here. All right, we got to grab the other red and some orange. So we're changing direction. grab it. It's a lot of it. I don't know why I thought I had to grab all of it. Science, Mr. White. All right, so let me make sure I gotta double check the pattern here. All right, we're good. 1 second, and then we're gonna be rocking. Yep, got it. All right, so we gotta make the new style. And this is called wrap and rake, like you're raking leaves. What's my favorite thing? Oh, I'll show you something cool. Hold on. Before we even begin, let me pull this off. I'll show you one of my favorites. I'll show you one of my favorite items. I haven't found a spot to hang it. I streamed mostly on TikTok, and then I shifted everything over to YouTube. And I'm much happier over here, but this is one of my favorites. This is a 19-inch dagger, dragon dagger. I am going to make another one, except I'm going to remove, I'm not going to do claws on the side. We're going to make wings coming off of it. But yeah, there's the dragon head dagger. Flip it that side. I'll try and get the head a little bit. There, you can see a little more detail. But yeah, I want to pull wings off of this. That would be kick butt. That's one of my favorites. How hot is the flame? About 3,800 degrees. Can you see the piece when it's engulfed? Yeah, I'm going to show you right now, actually. I'll give you a little preview. We'll use a small flame because it shows up best. There we go. So see that bright flame right there? This is what my glasses are made out of, this little material here. We're going to drop it in. Okay. So now you can see. Okay. So that's why I can see everything, kind of. So this, I have this filter, and then I have actually a welding shade number 3 on top of it. Yeah, so it's a frosted side and a shiny side, both. So you can just flip it to whatever side you want. Is frosted glass harder? No. Frosted glass just means you sandblast it. That's all it was. No, it's not exactly what's used in welding. It's a different flame chemistry, or a different brightness. But it acts exactly the same. Yeah, I have to have the glasses on to filter out all that bright light. Why don't I place the camera in front of it permanently? Because everything turns purple. Watch. See how it messes the color up? You can't really see. That's why. You'll miss out on a lot. And that's the hard part. I wish I could put it on there. I do have a second camera I'm setting up that I can switch scenes, and then I can bounce between it with a foot pedal. That'll be fun. And then I can just foot pedals back and forth. But that one will be on a horizontal live stream, not vertical. All right, we got to mix this up. Power feed. All right, there we go. Spins a hell of a lot faster than me. I don't know the name of the song. I'm a little frustrated with music on here, but if you play the wrong music, you can get, flagged. And like, nobody told me when I first started YouTube about the musical thing. So I looked up copyright-free music, ran Spotify, copyright-free music, thought I was pretty safe. Nope. You are not. So like my first 60 videos of live, someone else is monetizing my video. So I have to go in and delete each song manually, which takes a lot of time in the system. The drill mixes the glass a hell of a lot faster than I can spin it. So that's why I use the drill. It's a lot more effective. A lot more effective. That's actually how we used to have to make color back in the day. There wasn't, all these colors weren't available until probably, what year was that? Probably about 1998, colors started becoming available. But until then, we had to make our own. Yeah, I need to do the music. Right now I'm using a company called Epidemic Sound. They're actually pretty good. So I don't mind paying for the service, I guess. It's not expensive, just to be safe. All right, so basically we started out, we added some white in there. So it's kind of like a light muted white. And we're going to stripe some colors on there. There's a little fuzz nut on it. No fuzz nuts. Now we're gonna stripe. What's happening? How y'all doing? Do you know how much I love sharing this with all of you? 2 reasons. One, I'm hoping I can inspire 1 or 2 people to actually want to learn. And 2, there's nobody in here with me. It's very isolated. So live streaming for me is I get to hang out with people. Even if the trolls come in, I don't mind you. If you want to troll, go ahead and troll. I'm okay with it. Yeah, I did make the chandelier, but that one was done on a traditional hot shop. What's up, Lucky Lex? How you doing? So this is the orange, striped all the way around. All right, and then we're going to grab the red. This red is totally trippy. I love this red. This color is called Red Elvis, okay? And it will go completely transparent, and then it comes back to red. It's cool as hell. But yeah, I hope people. Yeah, I am on early, Lucky Lex. It's Christmas season. I was streaming till, what time did I stop? 5:30? No, 4:30. Somewhere around there. So it's Christmas time. Can't stop. Orders got to get filled. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so this is called Red Elvis. Watch this. See all the clear in between those? You see those? Watch in between those stripes. You're going to see more stripes appear. Total trip, right? I'm going to show you again. One more time. We're going to heat it up. We're going to make the stripes in the middle disappear. Okay? They're going to disappear. Now, keep your eye in between the stripes that you can see. Okay? Just watch in between. All right, we're going to bring it up. It's going to take a second. So look in between the strikes. Keep your eye on it. Watch in between. In 3, 2, 1, you're going to start to see it start forming. And like magic, they appear. Yeah, someone asked about starter kit. Definitely don't buy a kit. Kits are dumb. If you really want to get started, I can give you some references to places to go look. Where you're not going to get ripped off. Because every single starter kit out there, I will guarantee you, has a piece of glass or a glass tool you will never, ever, ever use. And they throw it in the kit because they can't sell it. And that's what they do with that crap. All right, so now we got the color striped all the way through. So yeah, those kits they're not worth it. You could definitely part it out and make it better. But that's a daunting task too. How do you figure out what to buy? If you don't know, you don't know, and that's the hard part. So I can give you resources to go do the research. There's I hate Facebook. I hate Facebook. I really dislike Facebook. Lately. But there's a really good group on there called Porch Talk. And they have infinite resources. I do not provide courses now. You can subscribe on here and watch though. You'll learn a ton because I don't gatekeep a lot of the techniques. I just kind of show you how it's done. So, you know, if you subscribe and you're interested, you can definitely learn a lot just by watching. That's why I bring it in and out of the camera so you can see it. But a single propane burner will not get hot enough. I do have a comprehensive list of things I recommend with options of what you can choose to buy. I don't sell anything though. I think that would be kind of a conflict of interest. But I do have a little list of things I think that would be best for a beginner. And that's it. That's what it is. Yeah, propane and oxygen. Oxygen and propane. Okay, we got a nice striping all the way around it. Amen. Thank you for all the gifts. I really appreciate it, Amen. Yep, definitely does kind of depend on the flame chemistry a little bit. Where'd that punty go? There it is. All right, we're going to pop it out. Put a little punty on here. Hopefully keep it terminated really well. Now, if it was a lightsaber, I wouldn't be here. I'd be doing all kinds of stuff somewhere else. You'd definitely see me on the news. I'll just say that. How often do I get burnt? I don't get burnt really very often at all. I get a lot of cuts. I get way more cuts. But no, not a lot of burns. Trust me, you get one little burn on this thing, you remember what it feels like and you know not to do that again. And if you don't, then it's on you. Who taught me this? My mother. How much does a marble set back? I think they're only like 20 bucks. Why more cuts? Well, you got to cut the glass. It comes in 5-foot sections or longer rods. And when you cut them, sometimes they leave little sharp edges on them. So you go to grab one and you just, get a cut. What I'm doing with what? The petrol burner? Oh. You mean that one? That's an original lamp working torch. The heat does not transfer. Yeah, it does not transfer. Even my torch is pretty safe. Look at that. You can just grab it like that. It's not hot. Pretty cool, right? Who is my mother in relation to the glass industry? She kind of stayed out of the limelight. She was mostly a wholesale producer. They didn't have the internet or anything for her. Had she had social media, internet, you would know who she was. You would definitely know who she was. I'll show you an example of her work. Ever tried? That's uranium right there. The jellyfish, that, all uranium. It is uranium glass. Yeah, like when I make a hummingbird, I don't use any tools at all. I am the tool. You work with fused quartz is hella hard. I have a lot of respect with fused quartz. Yeah, and you got the coolest burners on the planet. And it's super bright. All right, so you can kind of see that pattern in there now. This is called a wrap and rake. Now, when it gets cooled off, it'll be red and orange. But right now it's hot, so it's not going to do that. Let me tap that off. Really smooth it out. Yeah, I've got mad respect for quartz workers. No, I don't do any festivals. I am seriously very, very poor. Yeah, uranium glass is a side hustle if you ever want to learn it. I was talking about it last night. I think one of my favorite things to tell people, hold on one second. Go out and get you a little black light like this one. Now this has two different variations of a black light. It's got the 395 and the 365. And you hit it with the, there, and you can see it lighting up, especially on these guys. But you take one of these and you go to your local, like Goodwill or Value Village or something like that, and you take that black light and you just go scrolling down the glass section. And if it lights up green, you got uranium glass. Kind of like a treasure hunt. I've done some crazy stuff with glass, mixing materials, yes. But it's very limited what you can mix with glass. And there are specific things that you can't do with it. Well, that's part of why I live stream. I'm hoping that there are a few people out there that look at this and go, man, that's what I want to do. No, you cannot use any type of glass. Every glass has a different do's and don'ts. All right, we're going to heat this up. We're going to roll it into the white glass here. This is called frit, F-R-I-T. That's basically glass that's ground up into about the size of a sea salt. but it's a quick way to color it too. Glass hunters, yeah, that would be actually a good name for it. Is it expensive? Yeah, the uranium glass is expensive. From my perspective, it is. Like the tentacles in here are uranium, and I'm pumping out $150 a pound for that stuff. It goes fast. Do I do any other art? I don't have time. I don't have time for other art. I just don't have time. All right, got that done. Good to go. The drill is mixing the glass up. Yep, it is an insane price for that. How hot does the glass have to be to melt? At a good consistency, I'm going to say 2,800 degrees Fahrenheit. About 2,800 roughly. No, it hasn't affected my eyesight at all. What causes the... I'm going to show you how the stripes come out. Yeah, there are ways of making glass from sand, but this particular glass, no. Not super easy to make. Originally, glass was discovered because of a lightning strike in the Libya area. If you look up the term lightning glass, that's kind of where it came from. What's that? So lightning glass was way back in the you can still go out in the deserts of Libya and find it. And then the Egyptians found out you could do it. You know, they figured out heat, sand, glass. So the Egyptians were pretty much, I think, on the first levels of doing glass work. All right, we got to stripe this. Yeah, everything's glass. Everything is glass, correct. There we go. So we got one stripe. That's an orange color. It's going to look kind of brownish until it cools off. And then we're going to use the red. Again, this is going to go very transparent, and then it's going to come back to red. Yeah, I wish everybody a good day today. I'm not trying to make, I'm going to make a marble. I don't try, I do it. These in. Yeah, well, it takes time. What do you expect it to be done in like 30 seconds? Not going to be 30 seconds to get a project done. All right, so I'm gonna have you watch in between all those stripes. Keep your eye in between the stripes. This is the cool part. Watch. And more color. I love red. Yep, we're making a marble, but it's got to have a pattern. Right? I'm just going to make a clear ass marble. That'd be boring. Red stuff shatter? No. Now, the worst thing that happens is it can crack. And that part sucks. Nothing worse than like getting halfway through a project and then it just shatters. Like, not shatters, but cracks. And it makes a very distinct sound. And when you hear that sound, you're like, damn it. Then you got to go on the hunt for where it cracked. And determine whether you're going to fix it or throw it away. All right, so there we are. We're going to let it cool off a little. Yeah, these are all finished marbles, but this one I don't have an example of because this is the first one I made of the day. Second one. Is there a way to fix it after it cracks? There is a way to fix it. So when a piece cracks, you have a decision to make. Is it worth fixing it, or is the crack so bad that it's not faster to just throw it away and remake it? There are a lot of times it is faster to throw it away and remake it. Yeah, it's going to be in a ball shape very quickly now. This is the easy part now. So we're going to take it and we're going to shape it into a ball now. And just got to let gravity do it a little bit. Notice the angle's changing. So from here, now we're going this way. So all the glass is compressing down. Science, Mr. White. And if you know what that's from, we can be friends. All right, so see, started shaping down. Then use this. I'm going to use this one for the beginning. Then you come over and just start helping it along. Yeah, you can definitely reuse the glass that breaks. I turn it into the stuff here that's called frit, F-R-I-T. Frit is one of those things that not a lot of people like to make, but it's a good way to recycle your stuff. Yeah, the jellyfish design is new. I kept wanting to try and make one, and every one of them was kind of ugly. Breaking Bad, you got it, see? Yeah, that's it. Love that show. I could never get Jesse Pinkman's voice out of my head. Science, Mr. White. I do sell online, yeah. Thank you, Perfectly Imperfect. I appreciate that. All right, we're going to spin it up. Create this nice little termination at the end. So it's got a cool pattern. Yeah, I love Breaking Bad. I've rewatched that show twice. I always pick up something new, too. Thank you so much for the super chat, too. Perfectly Imperfect Gamer. So we kind of got that acorn shape, or dragon egg, as some people call it. We're going to bring it in, and this just kind of helps shape it up a little faster. What's the most difficult thing I've ever made? Tiramisu. But if you're talking glass, I think the most difficult thing I've ever done, I would say my chandelier that I made for a client. It was a pain in the butt. So they had bought a pool table from the pool player, Minnesota Fats, and so they wanted a chandelier to go over the pool table that Minnesota Fats owned. It was a really rare pool table. So I built it, and every arm that came off the chandelier had a pool ball on it. So that was kind of cool. And I had to do the, see the pattern in there? So I had to put the numbers in the pool balls too. That was a pain in the ass. Then we grip it and top it off. That's how you get it off. And then we pop it down and leave it. I got to let it sit for a second before I pop it in there because it will roll onto that spot and create a gibbet. All right, I had to move it in the kiln. All right, back at it. Got a lot more of those to do. It's the camera, it can't pick up the flame. They're solid. Can we see the last one that's fully made, cooled down? Of the small ones, I'll just grab a random one. So this is kind of like a tie-dye version of that. Mark it up here. Don't want it to get all right up. So it doesn't look like much right there, but once you shine a light on it, it's hard to light this place up. You can see it has a kind of like a metallic-y look to it. Like that. So that's like a tie-dye version. Actually, I could just leave that one in there. But the flame is actually bright blue. Watch. I'm going to pop it in. See how the flame goes blue? Versus that. All right, we got to roll it into the powdered glass here. Yeah, it's not expensive to run per hour. The expensive part is all the colored glass. That's where you start eating up a ton of money. That colored glass is not cheap. That's my nemesis right there. All right, so we got to mix all this up. So it's got the little white chips of glass on there, and then we mix it up. There we go. This drill's seen a thing or two. That drill has seen a thing or two. All right, we got to smooth this end out a little bit. I'm going to try this a little differently. How do I get in contact with you so you can have something made? There should be on my, if you click on my profile, there should be a little link in there to the website and email. Then we're going to pull this down. Ever been without eyebrows? No. Well, technically, yeah. Back in the day, you know, I had way too much to drink with my friends, and yeah, I woke up without eyebrows. They thought it was funny as hell. But not from the fire. No. Yeah, I'm not sure, Lucky Lex. We'll figure it out. Okay, so we kind of got that bicone look to it. Yeah, so my chat, you know, we tried to keep it as clean as possible. I'm not talking, you know, G rated. You could do PG-13. But I do have a lot of kids that watch. And, you know, some are actually starting to do glassblowing. And I don't want to have that, you know, negative vibe for kids. We're going to wrap this around. But yeah, you could keep it PG-13. I'm okay with that. All right, so got that one all done. Little stripe like that. Then we're going to add the red. And here we go. This is probably one of the trippiest colors for glasswork on the planet. I never get bored at what this thing does. This is like magic, this glass. Into Clouds, thank you so much for the gifts, the high fives. That's all good, Lucky Lex. We're all learning. All right, so the red absolutely goes completely clear, and then it comes back. So I'm going to bring this out. The thing to focus on is in between those lines right now. Notice there's no color in between the lines. Now just keep watching it, and all of a sudden new lines will appear like that. So whenever I'm working with anything that has red involved in it, red is the last color I apply because you can't see it. Yeah, it's kind of like a taffy pull when you're striping like that. It's like pulling taffy candy. All right, and then we pull it down. There we go. No, technically Guy Fieri looks like me. This is my natural look. But thank you. Into Clouds, thank you for the high five. I appreciate that. Yeah, this is, unfortunately, the way I look. Born with this round ass face. My hair went white at about 23, fully like that. I was a little pissed, but I embraced it eventually. I actually have made a lot of candy out of glass. I'll show you. Let me finish this up, and I'll show you one of my favorite candy pieces. It looks very simple, but they're a little bit of a pain in the butt to make. But it's one of my favorite candy ornaments. Again, we're heating sideways. Once the glass gets to a molten state, notice my arm changes. So we're going to bring it this way. And then you start letting everything compress down. Like that. All right, we're looking good. All right, we're good. All right, yeah, meta with didymiums, correct. And there we go. So now we just have to taper that end off. How big is the ghost dog? $2 feet tall? No, there's no ghost dog that's 2 feet tall. Not mine. Ghost dog's about 2.5 inches tall, and then I'd say about 4 inches long. What's the craziest thing that's happened to me? So I used to work at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. They had a big glassblowing studio there back in the day. And I was demoing there. And usually you can get about 200 people in the room. So 200 to 300, depending. But I was still pretty new to doing bigger projects. So I was making a big I can't remember what it was. But I was making a big project thinking I was going to be cool. And the thing fell off and it landed in my lap, right in my crotch. I didn't have apron at the time. So I had to make the decision in front of 200 to 300 people. Do I drop my pants or do I burn? And so, yeah, I had to drop them. But I got a lot of tips that day. So yeah, it was a pretty weird, it was a freak accident, but man, that was pretty scary. All right, and we're gonna watch the end. You're gonna see this red start to appear. It's coming back too quick. But yeah, that was a crazy situation. That's why I wear an apron now. Safety first. Yeah, it was pretty scary. I didn't care back then because I was how old was I? 24, 25, and I had a total gangster body. I was like ripped. Now the only gangster in me is like Tony Soprano. That's about the most you get. Let me grab the candy. I'll be right back. 1 second. I'll just stay off the screen. Luckily, the mic still works. Oh, there we go. Got that one. Oops, almost knocked my drill off. So, of course, we got, the traditional candy cane. Everybody makes candy cane. Okay, that's not unusual. But this is one of my favorite items. This is a ribbon candy from back in the day. If you ever went to your grandma's house and you had that hard-ass candy that sat in a bowl that would break your teeth, that's what that is. I love this design. That's ribbon candy. I do have a self-portrait. You guys want to see the self-portrait I did? Type 1 in the chat if you want to see the self-portrait, because I won't break it out if you don't want. It's okay. Yeah, the ribbon candy was really cool. I like that design a lot. I got to separate this. Okay, got some takers on it. Yeah, I did I was really young. I did a self-portrait of when I was young. Okay. One second. So there I am. I was super fast and very, very young. But yeah, that's a self-portrait when I was back in the day. Now that is skill. All right, let's drill mix this up. All right, let's make some marbles. Sorry, I had to do it. All right, let's bring it in. Yeah, that was, yeah. That's what I'm saying, not what you're expecting, right? I should put spiky hair on it. We were twin, probably. All right, so I'm just kind of mixing. We're going to drill mix this glass again. Yeah, I like to have a little fun. All right, we're going to bring the drill out and mix it up. And keep it even. And there we go. So anyway, I know spiky hair on that would be funny, right? Spiky hair would be great. Yeah, I love having live chat. I think live chat is awesome. That's why I do like live streaming, because I get to interact with people. It really does bug me when I see people that are live streaming and they don't pay attention at all to the audience. I know some people are scared to talk to people, and I get that. Now, if you're going to live stream, at least interact a little bit. Do your logo? I don't know if I could do your logo. It depends. I can't make everything. I don't promise I can make everything. There are certain limitations I have. There are things I can't make. Do I have Instagram? Yeah, I'm kind of getting. I don't have a very good one. I'll put it that way. I was mostly on TikTok. I still stream there daily, but I was mostly on there, and I enjoy the YouTube platform too. So I'm having fun. And the thing that bugs me about TikTok is I do a live stream and then it disappears. It's gone. Whereas YouTube, I do a live stream. If there's something that you wanted to see repeated, you just go back and rewatch it, and it's there. Right now, I'm making marbles. I have very specific patterns that I have to follow. These are all pre-sold. All these marbles are pre-sold. But I don't mind sharing the process. So like the people that are buying this particular set of marbles, I can give them the link as to when their item was made. And they can go and watch it anytime. What's up from Illinois? How are you? All right, we're going to add the red. The guys that don't talk at streaming have to do a job? It depends. I mean, that really depends. If you're a nuclear scientist, sure. Maybe pay attention to what you're doing. If you're playing World of Warcraft and you're just hanging out in Goldshire, then I bet you could talk to everybody. All right, so we got the colors kind of striped around there. Oh, there we go. Yeah, making paper airplanes and that. That's right. All right, let's stripe this down. We're going to create the little stripe effect. I mean, there are times that, I can't look at the chat like right this second. But most of the time I try and pay attention to it. Bringing this all the way down. One more. There we go. Okay, so now we got all those colors kind of striped all the way through. Now the trick is to kind of get it round. This is 31 years full time, but I grew up with it. So for me, I've been around it my entire life. It is a lot of fun. There are lots of places all over that have glassblowing experiences where you can go and make your own stuff with someone by your side. If you go to a glass studio and they're like, oh yeah, here's a furnace and some glass, go melt, run away. You're going to get hurt. I know, the magic stripes. Oh, I forgot to show it. Yeah, I forgot to show the stripes with the red Elvis. What a cool name for a color, though. Red Elvis. I don't know why they named it Red Elvis. But they did. Red Elvis. All right, so this is one thing to kind of watch for if you're a glass person learning. So sideways, I was heating it up, building up the core. Once you start wanting to get into a marble, you just change the angle. And then you let it kind of pull itself down. You start getting it a little more round on its own. What's the most played comp? I actually play zero music in my car. I don't listen to music in my car. I just don't. There we go. All right, so we got it halfway around now. It's kind of an acorn shape. There are some places close to Virginia Beach, actually. Yeah. I bet you could find something. So you want to look at lamp working and glass blowing. Now, most lamp working places will refer to themselves as a glass blower because nobody knows what the hell a lamp worker is unless you're in the business. You know, you meet someone and they go, "What do you do for a living?" "I'm a lamp worker." "Oh, I have a broken chandelier." No, not that kind. So we just commonly say glass blower and they're like, "Oh, okay." But technically this is called lamp working. Yeah, well, most of the time, if I'm in the car, I have someone with me, and I'd rather pay attention to the person with me and then play a bunch of music and ignore the company that I get to have. So I'd rather have a conversation than listen to music. If I get the opportunity, I'd rather have a conversation. If you're in Australia, you have no idea what you're looking at. From Australia, you would be looking at a guy that is melting some glass and pretending to know what the hell he's doing while talking in chat. 31 years and I still don't have it right. Do I know of any offhand? No, not. There's one really good studio in New Orleans that I know of, which, if you ever wanted to try glassblowing, New Orleans is a cool place to go. So, but it's a good studio, very clean. Ever made any besides? Yeah, you guys want to see the type 1 in the chat if you want to see the larger swords. That was the baby dagger. That dagger's only 19 inches. It's not very big. But I do have a much bigger sword that out of glass. I got to be careful how the hell I say that. Well, it's a long process because I'm jabbering. If I didn't have to live, or if I wasn't live streaming, these would take half the time. All right, so we're going to bring this here. Actually, if you want to see the most beautiful glass ever produced, ever, and it is on my top list of the best glass ever made, it's called the Harvard Botanical Museum, the Harvard flowers. They are all made out of glass, and it is probably the best glasswork I've ever seen in my entire life. It is absolutely stunning. It was made by a father and son team who pretty much, I think the father spent most of his life building it. All right, let that cool off for a second. So yeah, that's a little pattern to that. All right, I'll show you for size comparison, we'll bring out the dagger one more time. So this is 19 inches. So that is the dragon dagger. We're going to make another one. I'm going to pull wings off it this time, though. But yeah, so this is a 19-inch dagger. And we will grab the sword. Ready? Got to bring it back here, though. There. So I have to sit way back here to put it in because it does not fit in the camera that well. But that's a size reference. We can bring it up a little bit. Yep. See, I start losing the ability to put it in the camera. There you go. So there's the hilt. This is the part I like the most, this hilt. Everything's solid except for the bobble right here. This is a little air in there. But yeah, it's one of my favorites. This is like one of my, I used to have it hanging on the wall and then TikTok made me take it down. They said it was a weapon. This is why I'm kind of annoyed with it. All right, get back in there. There. So yeah, I had to take it down, or TikTok wasn't going to let me stream anymore for fear that it was a weapon. It's like, seriously? And they were serious. So that dragon dagger and the sword I had to take off my wall. So when I hang it back up, I have a little sign that says "not a weapon." This is one of them. I've taken on a lot of Marvel orders lately. For the one that I won't sell the sword. Yeah, it's I don't even put it up remotely for sale. This is borosilicate glass. All right. Yeah, I've had that sword for, give me 1 second, 23 years. All right, so we added the little white glass on there, Brit. Then we're going to mix it up. I know, it really annoyed me that they said you had to take them down. Where am I from? I am from my mother. Where are you from? My studio is located in Washington. All right, here we go. There we go. That's the second time I've done that. I'm going to throw that glass out of here. Would I make another to sell? Maybe. Am I using a special drill head? Nope. That is just a regular old drill head. Nothing special about it. But that drill has seen a thing or two. Trust me. It has been through a thing or two. No, what the drill does is it can mix up color a heck of a lot faster. Let's say you got a shade of green. Okay, I'll use this as an example. You got lime green and you got this kind of sparkly medium green. And you want to color in between that, and they don't make it. So you take a little bit of each, half and half, and use the drill to mix them together, and then you got your own color. So the drill is very useful for when you have to make shades of color that don't exist, and you have to do it yourself. So that's where the drill comes in. Yep, DeWalt for the win. It's been through a lot. That drill's seen, like I said, that drill has seen a thing or two. did buy a backup though, because I know it's going to die on me someday. All right, we got to add the color to here. We got to stripe it around. And here we go. So we're going to take it here, attach, and spin around. Then we're going to grab some red Elvis. That is the name of the color. Red Elvis. There it is. We're going to spin it around. Yeah, luckily, I did get monetized on here, so I am now able to link items in the live stream if I want. And I just have to figure out what I want to link when we're doing it. So I can link to the Shopify store, which is really freaking cool. I like it. No, sometimes I put them in the water to break off the end. The end may have a little nubule of something in there that you don't want to mess with. And you just put it in the water, break it off. Sword would be $3,000 US. I've been offered 10 and I didn't take it. All right, so we're going to bring it out here. Watch in between the lines, in between the lines. And you're going to see more lines appear. Watch, magic. 3, 2, 1. And there we go. Trippy, right? I mean, I can't say there's not a price that I don't have the sword technically for sale. But if you had a Mr. Beast come in and say, make an obscene amount of life-changing money, yeah, I would sell it. I'm not saying I wouldn't sell it at any price, but I turned down $10,000 for it. Okay, so we're going to pull it through. And I'll tell you where that sword came from, the inspiration for it. So back in the day, my parents had a glass sword that was made, and there were 50 of them made in the commemoration for something President Kennedy had done. So some glass artist made 50 swords, and my parents had one of them. I don't know how they got a hold of it, but I remember that sword, and I wanted it so bad. And the sword went missing. So I thought I would make one of my own. So that's why I came up with the sword. It wasn't like I was watching Game of Thrones and I was like, oh, great idea. So that was the inspiration for the sword. I just thought how cool it would be to have that. All right, let's heat this up. We're going to grab it there. Spin it off. So it's interesting you say that about cakes. So a lot of the coloring techniques I have, I took a cake decorating class. One of the best things I ever did for glasswork. is I took a cake decorating class. I learned a lot about how to apply color. I just had to, it wasn't, room temperature. It was more, 3,000 degrees, but the principle was the same. I had debated, even though my parents, I grew up with glass blowing my parents did this. I had debated on becoming a pastry chef. I was really seriously close to it. And not just like going out and making a donut, not that. I'm talking about insane pastry combos. There we go. Oxygen and propane are the two gases. So yeah, cake decorating taught me a lot about how to apply color on glass. I just had to figure out how to modify it, the technique. And I think for the finger dexterity, being at the age I am and still able to move everything, I think that's related to still having the ability of gaming. Keeping everything loose from gaming. What's up, Dragonfly? How you doing? I'm going to separate that. We're going to bring it out and spiral it up. How you doing, Dragonfly? Dragonfly is another person that does this type of glasswork. And she's the one that makes the marble holder that I'm using. All right, something just bit the hell out of me. Felt like a damn no-see-em here. No, I don't do that. No bongs, no dongs. I don't have a problem with the industry. I just don't make them. Lucky Lex is also an artist. She does amazing stained glass and polymer clay. So you ought to check her out too. All right, so now we just have to get this whole thing round. Did I get any sleep? Yeah, I went in and took a nap for an hour. I don't know how many hours of streaming I have to these past 2 days. You worked for Roar? Awesome. The glasses are very special, yes. I'll show you what they do. I have a separate filter here that is very close to the filter I have in my glasses. So this is called a titanium lens. Mine has an extra filter on it too. A welding shade number 3. All right, so take a look at that flame, see how bright it is. Now when I drop the filter in, it completely takes all that out. See? It's like magic. So yeah, it allows me to see into it. I've done chains before a long time ago, but there is someone out there that is currently making chains that are better than anything I've ever seen. If you really want a chain, I will refer you to her and she will make the best one you've ever seen. There's no point in me making it when I know she would make a better version. I'd rather you have the better version than make $1 off you. Know what I mean? And then we grip it and rip it like that. Grip it and rip it. There. Now you can start to see these colors bouncing in. Like that. Yeah, there is no link of them. And you know what's really sad about the 50 swords that were, one of them was given to Kennedy. The rest of the 50 were spread out all over. There was a collector, an art collector, that bought 38 of the swords. He went out searching for them all. And then there was a warehouse fire at the location where the 38 were, and they all melted. So there was even less available. And that sucks. That's a serious tragedy on that. All right, let's do it. No rigs. I'm very clear. I don't have a problem with the industry, none. But you don't lack for choices out there on rigs or pieces or anything. There's no lack of availability. So I don't do it because it's just not my thing. I love sculpting and making things that no one thinks is possible. You know, I like making weird crap. Let me just say that. You know, one day I decided I wanted to try and make a microphone. The sword did inspire me a lot. It was the coolest freaking sword I'd ever seen of the glass swords. It had what's called an air trap in the handle. And that's what got me interested in learning how to do air traps in marbles. I had slowly been trying to figure out how I could replicate that sword identical. I still know I remember what it looked like. All right, so we got enough white frit on here. Now we're going to mix it up with my favorite. Here we go. All right, got that done. Why do I use a drill with it? So it mixes it like 10 times faster than my hands could possibly do that. Someday I might make another dragon. But right now I'm focused in a different direction with stuff. There's a lot that's coming up that we'll be implementing, especially on the live streaming aspect. I'm debating on doing a once a week glass experience for someone on this channel. So you could apply to come in and be a guest on here. No experience. I need people that have never done it before. Yeah, I got an hour's sleep. I went and took a nap. So I was thinking it'd be kind of cool to have a experience for people. So you come in and you get to, I teach you kind of how to make glass, and you do it on live stream. And yeah, that would be kind of cool. And so once a week, I'll just pick out someone, or I'll pick people out, and you're invited to come into the studio and do that. But you have to agree to do it on live stream, so you got to be comfortable. But that's the stuff I'm planning in the future. Very interactive. There we go. Spiraled up. But yeah, you could come in and make a mushroom, or have like 3 or 4 pre-designed pieces that you could choose from. You get to pick your own colors, and then you make it. I'll be right by your side while you're doing it, and it'll work. Whereabouts am I from? Mostly my mother. My studio's located north of Seattle. About 48 miles north of downtown Seattle. Yeah, it could be a little far, but the thing about doing the experience here, you'd have to pay your own travel and hotel or whatever, but you don't have to pay for the lesson. All right, watch in between the lines. You're going to see another set of stripes that magically appear. Just keep your eye in between the lines. Watch. In 3, 2, 1. And just like that, another set of stripes came in. No, it never gets hot. Glass is a horrible conductor of temperature, but it's a good insulator, but a horrible conductor. That's why it's used a lot for lab apparatus or cookware back in the day, which really annoys me. The Pyrex now isn't really Pyrex. When you go buy a Pyrex dish, it is not really Pyrex. It's the brand, but it's not the original glass formula. It hasn't been for many, many years. I think they should disclose that. Yeah. When they got bought out back in the day, the people that bought them out changed the whole formula to a much cheaper glass. So current Pyrex is not really Pyrex, except in the laboratory glass. That is the original formula. But cookware, nope. You buy a Pyrex dish, you're buying normal glass. It's not special. All right, so we got basically kind of like that oblong shape there. We're going to take it and start turning it to a marble. And here we go. And as it starts heating up, you change the angle and it just starts falling on itself. No, I'm not doing the Prince Rupert's drop. It's like I think it's the dumbest item on the planet, but it's also super dangerous. If you're near all those little glass shards and they explode and one of them gets in your eye, you're toast. All right, we're going to round this out. Not the new Pyrex. Old Pyrex, you can do that with. New stuff, no. It has to have the name borosilicate in order for it to be that type of shatterproof glass. And that's actually a kind of a fun side hustle. If you know how to identify, there is a book out there and an online tutorial on how to identify original Pyrex glass. If you go to your local thrift shop or Value Village and you find that there for $1 or $2, I promise, if it's an original Pyrex dish, you could resell it on eBay for a massive profit. There are people looking for Pyrex dishes on eBay all the time. So if you want a scavenger hunt, go look for original Pyrex. I can't remember which way it is, but original Pyrex has a capital R, and or original Pyrex might have the capital R or the lowercase, and the fake stuff is the opposite. So that's how they identify it. It's either a capital or a lowercase. I don't remember which way it is. But so that, yeah, the trademark will give it away. But yeah, go to your local store, find an original Pyrex dish. If you can find one and it's under $5, buy it. Real Pyrex is being made today, but it is specifically for this type of glass. No one is lowercase. Okay, thank you for looking that up. I appreciate it. I'm dyslexic, so I always forget which one is which. Ghetto, thank you so much for the thumbs up. No, there are some marbles that are worth thousands, but none of mine are. I don't get that detailed with them. These are kind of fun for me because that's one of the main things my neighborhood did was play marbles. Marbles back in the day. Whoop! Thank you for the GG. Okay, grab it and tap it off. Then I got to let it sit. Yeah, we're making marbles. Lots of them. Still lots. I think in the past 2 days I've done, well, let me count, 30. We've done 100, I think this will be 189 in the past 2 days. 189 marbles. All right. That's a lot of marbles. That's why I titled it, I Lost My Marbles. Where do you say your marbles at? Online. Mostly online. So the marbles come in mostly cremation marbles. So like I get ash from people or pets and I can infuse it into a marble. And becomes pretty indestructible. Yeah, if you go check the past live streams that have the marbles in it, you'll see how many we've gone through and the different styles. So I'll use this real quick to show you what the filter does. There we go. Now you can see that. So that's how my glasses work. I did lose my marbles. There we go. The jellyfish is so freaking epic. I love that thing. You start dreaming about marbles? No, it's okay. It's all good. They're all different patterns. You know, there's groups of 10 and 20. I make lots of memorial art pieces, yes. But the marble is one of the most durable things you could do. So I'm always scared that if you get an urn, like my dogs pass away, and you get that stupid wooden box, and first I hate it. But, you know, let's say you get an urn and someone knocks over your urn and it breaks. And then you got ash everywhere. So doing a marble, you incorporate the ash into the glass, and the marble's 99.9% not going to break. And even if it did, I could fix it, but the ash wouldn't go flying everywhere. All right, let me mix this up real quick. There we go. The top of the jelly, the hooks are the hardest to make. The hooks, they definitely suck. They're not fun. Exactly. That's the main thing. Is I started the memorial business because my giant schnauzer had passed away. I had him 16 years, and I didn't want to leave him in the stupid box. And I knew people made memorial glass, and so I was going to have someone make them into a piece. But I was always nervous. I didn't know them. I knew of them, but I didn't know them. So I was always worried what the hell they're going to do with his ashes. So I ended up making it myself. Yeah, the drill is like one of my favorite tools. We're going to stop here and kind of melt it off. Yeah, the drill definitely kicks butt. Helps me out a lot. Two wooden boxes for your Dobermans? Exactly. That's what I was saying. So mostly you can do the marble, but I also have a paw print designed specifically for pets. So we can take the ash, put it in the glass, and stamp it into the paw print. And if you decide you want to have a memorial made and you want to see it made on live stream, we'll do it on live. We'll do it on YouTube, and then you can have it permanently. But more importantly, you can actually see the ashes go into the glass. That's what scared me. I didn't know the person that was making them, and I was like, do they really put the ash in there? It was like my biggest fear. So that's why I decided to do it myself. And then after I made mine, I had like several friends who were like, oh, can you do one for me too? I was like, yeah. And it just morphed into a business. I had not planned on doing that as a business. But yeah, if you want a memorial piece made and you want to see it made in this environment, I'm happy to do that. 100%. Then you can see that it's actually done. All right, here we go. We're going to make the next one. There we go. Striping it down. Yeah, the paw print is, I designed it for that. Oh, thank you for the subscription. I can barely talk. The yellow flame is the sodium that burns off. It's just that everybody has their own style. Everybody has their own style of stuff. You just kind of do it. You do your own thing. But yeah, glassworking, there's no real right or wrong way. Like, technically, when I'm holding it like this is wrong. You're supposed to have it like this. Okay, one overhand, underhand, overhand. But I started getting carpal tunnel, and I tried overhand, and it did hurt the carpal tunnel area where I was getting affected. So I switched everything to overhand 90% of the time. And I can't tell you how many people were like, oh, you're doing it wrong. I was like, I don't care. I'll figure it out. I'll adapt. But I am not going through carpal tunnel surgery. So I just changed my entire form. Yeah, I absolutely mix the ashes with the glass. You can, mostly you add it in between. So you dip the glass into the ash and it picks it up, and you keep layering it in there. And you do that until you have a consistency. It has a certain feel to it. And once you hit that sweet spot where you know it's going to work, then you stop adding ash. You can't add a lot of it because it'll take it and change it from glass to like a ceramic. So the more materials you add into glass, the more you start making it not glass anymore. All right, so we're going to get this one round. Again, you get the whole thing hot, and then you start holding it this way so it starts falling down. What's up, French? That's the worst. Sneezing. The worst part is if you're actually blowing glass and you get a sneeze. You just start going, no. No, I do not have an expensive gas bill. It's not as expensive as you would think. It's not that bad. All right, we got that part round. What's up, John? How are you doing? All right, so we're going to take this and punty it up and make the other one. The other end round. Like that. And we got to burn it off here. I only sleep like 3 hours a day. I've never been able to really sleep. So I get about 3 hours a day and I'm good. Every once in a while, I may have a power nap of like 5 or 6 hours. Other than that, nope, I don't sleep. I have too much to do. I know you're supposed to sleep a lot, but I just never have. I know I don't need it. Don't need it. Actually, I'm okay with it. I'm constantly using my time to consume information or learn something new. That's partially why I probably don't sleep as much. Okay, let's round this out. And get it super round. And there we go. How you doing? Welcome in. Then now we have some cool little lines running around it. It's not going to show its true form until a little bit later and it cools off. That's when it'll look good. What's up, Uncle Ski? How you doing, my friend? Then we just burn it off. That. Now I gotta let it cool. Then it can go in the kiln. I'll make sure what we have. Really? I thought we were way above that. Okay. I guess not. All right, let's keep going. We're doing good though. I love live streaming, so I'm going to be hanging in this a lot. Then we're going to dip it into the white glass, pick it up. I've had several people ask me why I use the white glass, dip it in, and then mix it up. And part of it is it gives it a little bit of a sandblasted look on the inside, so it makes the colors on the outside pop a lot better. And that's kind of why I do it. I want the colors to kind of pop out a little more. So you give it a little sandblasted inside, and then the colors on the outside look really good. One more run. All right, let's mix it up and go. We're just going to spin it all the way up. That's all mixed. A glow light. Yeah, kind of. Do I ever use any other power tools? Not that I can think of. Okay, so we're going to attach here. Burn off the other end, keep that super clean. We're going to bring it out. How many marbles you got so far? I think we're somewhere in the 180s. I have 3 more of these for the immediate to do. All right, let's add the orange. These I'm not putting ash in at the moment. They are memorial, but the people that had it, they don't have any ash. So they're asking for the marbles, and they're going to create a memorial of it with it. But the ones we did earlier, they were ash. But they're still memorial, but they don't have the ash in it. How do you put the ash in without cooking it? Well, you actually do. It gets way more cooked, if you will. The hard one is to do are the water cremation ones. The water cremation ones are a pain in the butt, but it works. It's burnt to a certain temperature. I'm going way above cremation level. For temperatures. How many gas? Well, I don't have cylinders. I've got liquid oxygen, and I go through 1 liquid oxygen tank a week. In fact, I'm going to be getting a delivery anytime soon, sometime soon. But I think my liquid tank is equal to 19 cylinders. So roughly I'd go through 19 to 20 cylinders a week. All right, we got to stripe this down. There we go. Why is water cremation? Because once the fire hits it, it ignites. Water cremation doesn't have any fire to it. But the only time I get water cremation is from pets. who buys this many marbles? I'm not going to give you their name. All right, so we're going to bring it in and we're going to start melting it down. Well, the other one that I work with it's a place called Return to Home. And basically they make you into a tree. So you become composting. And I do occasionally have people go pick up some of the composting from that and we turn that into a memorial. That one's way harder to work with, though, than anything. Yeah, there are many types of cremation, for sure. I like the composting one, theoretically, but where you become a tree. And the reason I like it is it actually becomes a technical graveyard, meaning they can't cut the tree down. All right, let's get this thing going. There we go. Anyway, how the heck is everybody doing? I hope you all are doing fantastic today. Happy Friday. Non-Black Friday. But you're still going to deal with the mad rush of people trying to grab stuff and get things. Here we go. We're going to make it round. Thank you. Yeah, I'm having a good time doing this on live. Live streaming is so much freaking fun. These have no human remains. They order memorials without it. I don't know what they're going to do with the marbles, but I think they're designing some type of headstone, I think. I've had several people buy marbles and then implement in the headstones. Let me just double check. Yeah. All right, let's get at least 2 more done. It is a lot of fun. And here we go. Gonna dip it in. This is dipping it into little tiny chunks of white glass, like little chips. called Frit, F-R-I-T. Then we're going to take it, we're going to mix it up, and it's going to create a almost sandblasted looking glass. Very light, frosty version. Then we'll back it with some colors and stripe it and make it look good. There we go. And we're good. And a little bit more here. Then we trim it off here. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're just kind of jamming. Making some glass, filling orders. All right, there we go. Now we're going to stripe some colors on. This is called a Glass Torch Technologies, or GTT, and the model is a Kabuki. I got that one on. A little bit more color. Yeah, hard. It really depends. There's like several projects I've done that are kind of crazy. But nothing was like super hard to do. Just had to figure out alternative ways of making it. I got that stripe done. There we go. I need this one. Can I explain my torch? Not really. I didn't build it. It's just an awesome piece of equipment. All right, here we go. All right, we're looking good. Got the stripes going. Oxygen and propane. And there we go. Gonna pull it down like that. The flow rate, you mean how many cubic feet a minute of oxygen? All right, we got to bring it in and let it kind of gravity pull it down. And there we go. Round it up. This is borosilicate. Okay, we're going to bring it out. Now we just have to round that out. There we go. Nice and smooth. Nope, it's all solid work. I wait for it to cool off. Yep, did make that. But that was with a different process. That was with a hot shop. So it's the traditional big furnace that you see on a lot of different places. I have roasted a marshmallow in this thing. Actually, it's pretty insane. That was an insane melt. All right, let's go. And there we are. So I'm rolling it into a finely ground glass little chips called frit, F-R-I-T. One more little pass. All right. Gotta bust that scroll one more time here. It's running about 3,800 degrees Fahrenheit. There we go. That always mixes up way faster. Yeah, it's been a few subscribers past couple days. There's definitely been a few subscribers. I'm happy though. I love having new subscribers. I think that's pretty amazing. All right, so we're going to take this and we're going to start making it into a marble as soon as we get done coloring it. All right, we've got to stripe it. And there we go. Thank you, John. I hope so. We're going to try it. All right, we're going to add this red. Then we're going to stripe it and make it into a full-blown marble. Like that. All right, now we got to run a couple clear rods all the way through, kind of locking those color stripes in. All right, we're good. All right, we're spinning it up. Yeah, 5,500. I don't think I could get close to that. All right, next step, we got to round this out. There we go. Half of it. All right, it's looking good. Fairly happy with it. Okay, we got that. We're going to trim it off, trim the excess off. All right, so now we just have to round this off. There we go. I don't know if you all saw that. That poor bug. It went by the wayside. Okay, we're going to grip and rip. Like that. Gas bill is about $1,000 a month, just under $1,000 a month. Yeah. All right, I'm going to take a short break for a little bit. I will be back streaming very, very shortly, but I got to go get some medications for my mother and feed it to her. So I will see you all in just a little bit. If you like what you're seeing, hit the subscribe and notify. We'll catch you later, just a little bit.